How you doing, pioneers? This is mjkk613.14. Another video in the series I'm trying to put together. Pi goal. What is Pi's goal? Okay. And I know the community is split on what they think Pi's goal is. Anybody that is looking or thinking that Pi that needs to go to the exchange before anything else, you're 180 degrees off. That is not Pi's goal. That is a secondary goal of Pi, and it will probably be there, but that's not what core envisions, design, building, or the direction that they're going initially. From the white paper, everything I'm saying can be found in the white paper. You can't. You need to keep going through until you find it. It's there. It's there. And Pi's goal, what does it mean? Is to be a means of exchange to trade for goods and services inside the Pi community, inside the Pi ecosystem, inside the Pi economy. It doesn't go any farther than that. Initially, that is the goal of Pi. To be the means of exchange to trade for goods and services inside the community. Inside the community. In its own economy, own ecosystem, inside Pi community. That's where it stops. It doesn't go out. It doesn't go outside. There's no mention of, yes, the optimum goal is to be mass adopted. But it doesn't need to be. It really doesn't need to be. Because its goal is for inside the economy, inside the community. That's where Pi needs to start, is inside the community. That means it needs to start with us. That, I can't put it any simpler than that. That is Pi's goal. That is Core's vision. That is what Core is developing. Is for us to trade goods and services using Pi. That's it. That is it. Okay? It isn't any more complicated than that. We don't have to make it any more complicated than that. There's no reason to make it any more complicated than that. Okay? So, nowhere in that goal does it state that Pi will go to the exchanges. And if you follow the roadmap, to support that Pi isn't going in the direction of the exchanges, there's a sentence in there that when Pi launches live, if exchanges choose to list Pi, then Pi can be listed and linked to those exchanges. And it isn't until recently that exchanges have changed their position and will just list coins on their merit or their value, on what they see as potential of whatever. No. Up until recently, you had to buy your way onto an exchange. You had to run an ICO or had to fill out an application and buy your way onto the exchange. That was the only way you could get onto the exchanges until recently. I'm going to say a few months, 6 months maybe. And yes, I was putting out bad information because that's what I learned, that's what I knew coming in. And I didn't stay up and research it because I already knew it. I didn't have to research it. Okay? Until I kept getting slapped and no. Okay. Well, then I had to go back in and I had to research and see what's going on. Yeah. Now I don't know of too many big exchanges. I only searched Coinbase. Okay. It's a top exchange, and they changed their position on how they're listing coins. So I'm sure there are others that are following suit. Okay. So, yes, with that door opening, there is a chance that Coinbase could pick Pi up when it launches. Will it do it first day? Probably not. Because if you're not, for an exchange to list, you have to have a product to put on the exchange that is worth trading on the exchange so they get the volume of trading that they think they're going to get. If if a coin or a token has no track record, it's just been built, and you can build coins in 30 minutes and have them trading to the public. I mean, you can, from your own platform, you can build coins and send them out and do whatever. You can build your own stuff in 30 minutes. That's not Pi. That Pi is not a 30-minute coin. It's not built off of Ethereum. It's not built off of their platform. Okay. Pi is using Stellar as their foundation, the no software created blockchain, as their foundation for Pi. And anyway, I don't want to get off track. Okay, so when we get to phase 3 and it launches, whatever, Core is not making any effort for an exchange to list Pi. Core is designing and building Pi to be the means of exchange used between us to buy and sell goods. To buy goods. Or to move goods, whatever. Okay. Pi, they're building Pi to be the money that we're going to use inside the community to buy stuff. Okay. Now, I think here's where I know a lot of the misconceptions, a lot of whatever people aren't seeing, they're just missing this whole section. Okay. Because they're people, and I was too when I got here. But yeah, mass adoption, let's get it outside, let's get it to the people, let's get it to the okay? My views today are different than they were then. No, I mean, initially, getting Pi off the ground and into phase 3, no, we're not ready. One, we have no product to sell or to pitch to somebody. Okay? You can't go into a chain location like Taco Bell or Wendy's or McDonald's or Auto Parts, AutoZone, because we have nothing to sell or to pitch to a franchise location. If you want a franchise location to use something, pick something up, you have to offer them something. Pi has no track record. Pi will have no track record coming out. So, what are you going to pitch to them? Now, if you're looking to get outside businesses involved in Pi, it's the mom and pop places that should be gone after, because they have more leeway to say yes or no. Yeah. There are probably 1 or 2 locations, maybe. You're dealing with one location, one pioneer, one account. They can accept Pi being pioneer. If looking at outside locations, those are the locations we should be looking at. But it's not a necessity. It would be a big step forward, but it's not a necessity because it's got to start inside with us. So the way I view where Pi is now and where we're at, where we're working to be. All right, Pi is in 236 countries around the world, and we're at 20 million pioneers, people that are earning Pi. They have a Pi balance. So that means the way the program is now, or the way Pi is now, is growing the community, is distributing Pi around the world in a big enough supply and quantity to be used. That's the problem with most of the cryptos that come out today. They build the protocol, they build the blockchain, they do what they're going to do. They set whatever it is, the amount of coins for that project. It's all ready to go. The protocol and blockchain is all ready to go. Then they go to the public. Then they build community. And it doesn't have, in my opinion, doing it that way doesn't have a big enough reach to get around the world, to have enough people in the community to get it around the world in a big enough quantity that it can be used. I mean, when I was researching Coinbase, and because I was trying to figure out why they switched their position, and because they're trying to take these small communities, make it easier for these small communities to hook up on their exchange and hook up with each other, so a small community can become a bigger community, which makes sense. In today's changing world and going digital, it makes sense. Because the small community isn't going to be able to make it on their own. They're not. Okay? Now see, if you don't see that in Pi, just by the numbers, I don't know what to tell you, you need to wake up. 236 countries around the world, 20 million people around the world that can do business 24 hours a day, anywhere in the world. Well, what about shipping? Don't worry about shipping yet. It's a concept first. We ain't even there to where we can really buy stuff from each other. We're not, okay? 236 countries around the world, 20 million pioneers that have Pi in a big enough supply, quantity, that it can be used around the world. Well, if that doesn't start to set Pi apart from what's already out, then you need to let go of what you know out here. Just leave it at the door for a little while. You can pick it up when you go out and do what you're doing, making your money, you're doing whatever. But when you come into Pi, come in fresh, come in empty, come in clean, come in like a brand newborn baby with nothing up there. Okay, we come into this world, we don't know nothing. So I can come into Pi. All the stuff you've learned isn't going anywhere. It's still there. It's not going to. But it's clouding, in my opinion. It's clouding what you're not seeing. It already said. I mean, it's written that. Of course, not going after an exchange. So right now, the exchanges are off the table. There's no reason to even be thinking about them, or whatever you think about on the exchange. For Pi, there's no reason to think about it. It's low on the priority list. Will it move up? Yes. But it's not up on the priority list right now. What's on the priority list is still growing community. Making this community bigger. And with Pi being 20 million people and not launched yet, we're still in beta. Yes, testnet. I look at phase 1 and phase 2. As long as the emulator is running, we're in beta. Because as long as that emulator is running, if Core wanted to had a bad section in the protocol or in the program order, they could wipe it out and rewrite it. Yes, there's a lot of work and it's a pain in the ass, and depending on how deep it goes and how far, what all it reaches. Yeah, no, we're too late in the project to do that. And why I say that? When I joined, KYC was not written in the white paper. It was not written in the protocol. Security circles, trust graph, all that stuff was in the protocol already by the time it started inviting people. KYC wasn't in that base protocol. And why I say that is because when in-app transfer was getting closer, when Core was starting to talk about putting out in-app transfer, whatever, is when KYC came up. Because people didn't go by the way Pi was written. One person, one account, one mobile device. Nodes weren't even thought about yet. Okay? So those were the things. One person, one account, one mobile device. Core put out, the last official that I heard Core put out was about 19 million. Okay, so I'm going 20 because we should be up there by then. Okay, out of those 20 million accounts, the way Core shows those accounts as active pioneers is they've done at least 3 sessions. That the contributor role has at least unlocked. Moves them into active pioneer. Now, there are probably a lot of inactive pioneers in that 20 million that have stopped mining or whatever. But they were counted originally. It's the other probably 100 million or 200 million accounts that have been falsely created that are on top of that 20 million. Yeah, there are, man, okay, people that don't know crypto, don't know the space, don't know much about, and they don't know about, they may not know a whole lot about computers or what. Okay, I'm probably one of them guys. I know enough to be dangerous. But you guys that know have been doing it since I've been here. They've been doing it since before I got here. People in China can buy 1,000 phones, 10,000 phones with 10,000 IDs. Can go into a village and give each one in a village a phone and an ID and tell them to mine. And if they don't mine, they'll kill them. Yeah. Yes, that's reality. Yeah, I got woke up quick. Anywhere in that Asian realm, anybody can do it if you got cash. There are a lot of accounts that are no good. Yeah, somebody just threw out that 200 million or whatever it is. But being here as long as I've been here, seeing what I'm seeing, and watching what's going on and all stuff like that, it wouldn't surprise me if there's not 100 million accounts, easy, that Core has to deal with on top of everything else. And I know from, it was the first halving, either the first or second halving that I was here. Yeah, I watched Core clear up a bunch of accounts at that time. And back then, when halvings were coming up, I mean, we had it figured out pretty close to the day. Maybe not the hour or the exact minute or time, but we at least had it in the day that the halving would occur. And it didn't occur. A couple of days went by and it didn't occur. A week went by and it didn't occur. Okay? Well, because the app was building and it was going up and down, and okay, we had a lot of up and down time. A lot of times we couldn't get in and start money. Okay? The time of when that halving should have been, I mean, we didn't know for sure, but it should have happened a day either way. And when it didn't happen until 3, 4, 5, 6 days later, I mean, people were complaining about why isn't it halving, why isn't it doing it? Well, why do you want it to halve? The mining rate's going to go down. The earning rate's going to go down. Why would you want it to halve? Let it run as long as it can go before, okay? Well, what I come to figure out was, for all that time the app was down and we couldn't earn the mine, Core made it up on the halving. They just let the halving run a little farther. So any pie that we would have lost in those downtimes and the times when we couldn't get into the app, Core gave us the opportunity to get it back. Okay. Well, I know a lot of people didn't pick up on it, and they probably don't remember, and they don't whatever. Okay, but it happens at every halving. It has at every halving. The community. There are some smart people in the community that have computer programs to do all their things. They're down to the day. There are a couple of guys in here that were here when I got here that probably have it down within 6 hours or 8 hours. Yeah, their programs are that good. They have it down to that point, at least that point. Okay, so the timing was accurate. Well, if Core doesn't have, to me that showed that Core isn't what people are saying that Core is. Because if Core was in it for themselves, they wouldn't have allowed us to make up what we lost. So there. Yeah. And at the halvings is a good point to clear out a bunch of accounts. And why they don't post it or why they don't tell us on a regular basis is because they're clearing accounts at the same time. Okay, I figured this one out early. We had a Pioneer account, and it showed 100,000 one day. And I come in to start a session the next day, and that Pioneer account is down to like 85,000. People are going to ask questions. They're going to ask more questions than what they're asking now. And they're going to be more upset than what they are now. That's why Core doesn't put out official numbers, because they're not important right now. They are really not important. They were for halvings, but we're not having to 100 million. And we're at 20. We got 80 million to go. We don't need to know. Pioneer count is not on the priority list. Because as new people are coming in, are doing the same things what old people did, what older pioneers did, as soon as they got here. They're creating multiple accounts. The guy that invited me, day one, before reading anything, created 3 accounts. He had 3 phones, he created 3 accounts. Because that's what he was used to doing in all the other projects he's involved in. Didn't even read the wife, and he goes, stick with me, dude, we'll be fine, we'll be good. Just stick with me, we'll be good. Well, I'd like to read what I'm getting into. And I read the white paper about 4 times in a couple of days. And I kept coming up with the same thing. 1 person, 1 account, 1 mobile device, 1 node. And I argued with him for about 4 days, dude. Because he wouldn't read the white paper. Finally got him, finally convinced. I sent the section to him. Dude, you're going to lose everything you're doing, you're going to lose when the time comes. And I sent him, and he got rid of all but 1 account. One of the accounts got mine. So from the beginning, I was mining alone, man. The guy that invited me bailed on me. Okay? So that is also going on inside that we don't see. It's happening. It's happening. And Pioneer Count and all that stuff, it's all low on the priority. There are bigger things that need to be done than Pioneer Count. What difference does it make what the Pioneer Count is? What really does it make? Because I want to see how it's growing. What we're seeing now, or what they're putting out now, when we get to phase 3, though the numbers, all of the numbers, what people think that has been mined, supplied, whatever, in circulation, whatever, will all change at the start of phase 3. Yes. Because at the start of phase 3, the way it's set up now. Oh, I was talking about KYC. Let me get back to that. In mine, from what little bit I do know of programming, okay? And what I've come to find out, as complicated as KYC process is to do it, or whoever's doing it, how complicated the process is, because there's a lot more than just taking information and verifying who we are. All the information that whoever's doing KYC is collecting has to be secured, stored, protected. What they have to, whoever's doing KYC has to take care of that information, has to keep that information secure and private, and no way to hack it. And if KYC would have already been written in their launch program or their launch protocol, they wouldn't have had to figure out how to get it into whatever is written. And I don't think they could do it, because they would have had to probably deconstruct what they already had to put the pieces of KYC in the protocol to do what it was supposed to do, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't. It would have sent them back probably 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, because they would have had to deconstruct it, add the KYC components, and reconstruct it to get it back to where it was at that point. Man, they fought it for 2, 3, 4 months trying to get an in-house KYC. And why Yoti was chosen was because they were the top. They are the top KYC company out there. Yes. And if they have less than a 5-star rating today, pat yourselves on the back. Pat yourselves on the back. Because when I signed up for Yoti, and I jumped the gun, and I should have waited until it was offered. But I jumped the gun because I wanted to be in. I wanted to be ready for KYC. I wanted to get in. So I KYC'd on my own. I downloaded Yoti on my own. Yeah, and I had a little issue because at the time all they were taking was passports. And there's a reason they're only taking passports. That a passport is the only securest way that they can guarantee KYC. And Yoti does not KYC just for Pi. Yoti KYCs for anybody that needs any kind of KYC done. Not just crypto. Companies, businesses, whatever needs to KYC somebody, they go to Yoti. And if you research them, companies, and they've been around about 12 years now. They are a top-rated KYC company, and they secure our information. When they secure our information, I don't think they can get it back. I think we can get it back. They can't get it back. It goes into when they encrypt the information, it goes into a burn wallet. They can't access. Okay? There's a lot more to KYC than what people think. So when it got real nuts, people weren't waiting for core. They were going to try to go to you, and Yoti wasn't working for them or whatever. We dropped them to 3 stars, from a 5-star operation to 3 stars, and it wasn't their fault. It was ours. Yeah. Pi has history. If you don't know the history, you don't. Okay? That is just with KYC, and KYC is a big issue. But there's been 2 dApps in Brainstorm, right at the top. Both of them are KYC. Because Core, it was taking too much of their time to figure that out. It really was. And if they're trying to figure that out, and I'm sure they came to a point that they can't deconstruct what they already had, because it was already too big. Well, Fever IQ came in place when COVID-19 started. Well, I mean, I wasn't real happy about it because I didn't think, why are they doing COVID-19? Well, one, it was a way to get people KYC. If you were involved in Fever IQ, you get KYC because you could donate pi and do whatever you do. Okay? Well, Fever IQ, because of the information they were collecting on people, already had a security system in place to protect our information that they were collecting from us on COVID-19. It's all medical history stuff. Man, you just can't leave that out in the public, man. And the builders of Fever IQ put out a deal that, yeah, they were using whatever they're using to secure their information to show the community that our information was secure. Well, if they have that going on, and we know what KYC is, okay, they are the first one, they know core and whatever it is, and they know what's going on. You don't think that they're going to collaborate, come up with something to secure our information? Yeah. Okay. And because of the counterfeit stuff in other countries, Yodi only used passport because a passport is the only securest way to prove your identity, my identity. I don't have a passport. But being in the U.S., Yodi would take a driver's license or an ID, a state-issued ID. But it took like 2 or 3 days for him to clear that before mine cleared. Yodi only uses information that they're collecting because they know they can guarantee it. They know they can guarantee it for their customers. Well, because Pi is so diversified and countries don't have, okay, and there's so much counterfeit and whatever, that Pi has to be real careful on how they KYC to keep it one person, one count, one device. But as long as it's been since those started and where we're at now, I believe, I don't know, so don't quote me, but they should have some kind of KYC process ready to go. Because there's 2 dApps that have been building for a year, and if they haven't built it in a year, no. The guys, from the names that I remember seeing on the projects, these guys are over 50. And with course help, and with whatever help they're getting from whatever, and I would almost bet that there are KYC processes in place to at least cover the majority of pioneers. Because Pi has to be diversified enough to deal with countries that counterfeit enough to make sure that the people that are coming through phase 3 are who they say they are. And because if any of these people that are creating bots and all this garbage that is being created now comes into phase 3, yeah, they could tear the network down, man. Because of how we're securing our network. Part of our deal. Security circles are supposed to be 3 to 5 people we know. 5 people max. That we know and trust. Well, there's a reason they say we know and trust. We know them and we trust them because they're not going to do anything stupid. Okay? We vouch for everyone in our circle. Now, it's always been an issue since I got here, and I did it in the beginning. Because I didn't have people that I knew and trusted that would download the app, would get involved. Listen to what it says. 3 to 5 people that we know and trust. In the time that I've been here, I have gotten to know more than 5 people. I've become to trust more than 5 people. I could build a security circle 10, 20, 30 times over with no issue. People I know and trust. I've got to know and trust a lot of people in Pi. Yeah. So they can be members of Pi. You just have to know who they are and you just have to trust them. You have to trust each other. Okay? And to build a security circle of more than 5 people, you're actually hurting the network and not helping it. Because, I've heard thousands of people in their security circles and hundreds of people in their security. No, you can't vouch for that many, and if you have a circle of 100 people that you don't know, people just picking numbers up off the boards and stuff, you don't know what any of them people are capable of. You could have brought somebody in, or you could have brought a bot in, you could have brought somebody in that builds bots, and then all of a sudden they start building it inside. No, that's not securing our network. Part of our job for earning Pi, well, to earn our mining rate, which is part of core, to get the base rate, to get base rate, we have to have a full 5-person security circle, and we're already a pioneer when we join. Those two make up base rate. That is mining. That is the mining rate. And we'll get to that later. But that is base rate. That's what we earn. Base rate. Okay. So over 5 is a waste, and you're not helping our network. And it's our network. It's our network. We help secure our network. We are the first line in securing our network. There's a reason. There's a reason for the security circles and trust graph, okay, which is also in addition to Pi. It wasn't. It isn't in Stellar. It isn't on Stellar. What Core used from Stellar. There's nothing in Stellar protocol that has a security circle or trust graph. It mentions security, but they don't build security circles. It's an addition that Core has made to make Pi. So, the goal. Well, that's all part of the goal. I mean, that's all part of our job to reach that goal. Okay? But the goal is to get Pi, to use Pi as the money. So, for Pi to be usable, everybody in the community has to be able to use it. For it to be usable, it has to be distributed in large enough quantity that it can be usable anywhere in the world. Looking at the other projects, when they're building communities, their communities are small. They don't have the reach. They don't have the, okay? There's no use case. Okay? So they trade on the exchange. That's where they make their money. That's where people make their money off those coins. But if you look at the trend and how things are switching, more coins are starting to build more use cases and using it in more areas. Okay. Now look at Pi. You're taking a community of 10, 20, 30,000 people, maybe, comparing it to a community of 20 million. It's not. Yeah, you can't use it. No. As long as the emulator and the faucet is running, all we can do is earn it and stack it up. All we can do is, as long as it's on the emulator, there's nothing else we can do with it. Yeah. And as long as it's running on the emulator, we're working towards our goal. The community should be working on the community, getting the community ready to go phase 3. Core shouldn't have to do it. They have their hands full with what they're building. You can tell me 20 million people can't build a community? And I believe that. I because of the thinking, the thinking of today. People are waiting either to be told what to do, or waiting for somebody to put in what we're supposed to do. Well, if we're dealing with money, I mean, Pi's no game. Pi is working to be the money. To be the money. Pi is looking to be the dollar bill, to be the yen, to be whatever. So when you're talking, it costs you $10 to go and buy this. Well, it costs you X Pi to go and buy this. It should be the thinking. It should be on the same level. When I know people keep tracking, they're on a budget and they do whatever, but if something comes up, you're on your way to work, or you're on your way home from work, or whatever. You're just going to the park. You're taking the kids to school and you're going to the park or whatever, and you get thirsty, or you get hungry. You already know you have either a credit card or cash in your wallet, in your purse, or whatever you're carrying, in your pocket, whatever. You don't even think about it. You just whip into someplace and you get what you need, what you want. Something to drink, something to eat. You need to put gas in the car. You don't even think about, because you already know you have X amount. You already know you have X amount of budget, so you don't think about the amount. You just know you have it. You just go use it. We just go use. When I'm working on the project or something, and I need to go to the hardware store. Yeah, I reach in my pocket. I got some cash in my pocket. I shoot down to the hardware store and go get what I need. I don't even think about it. I don't think, how, unless you're like really focused on money, how often do you think about the money you have in your pocket or in your bank account or whatever on a daily basis. I know there's probably a lot of people that, like sex, it just, money comes in, you think about it, yeah, I got this, and you're figuring out this and that and whatever. But it's become a no-brainer. We don't have to think about it. We know what it is. We know what the value is. We have a $10 bill, we can take a $10 bill in and we can go get this much for $10 or a dollar or whatever. Okay? Or running where I'm a smoker, so I'm a dollar short on getting a pack of cigarettes. Where am I going to get that dollar? Okay? When it comes time to getting what I want or need, then I think about it. Up until that point, if I'm doing a job or something, I don't think about what's in my pocket. It's just there. I know it's there. It's just there. That's the level of what pi needs to get to be a currency, be money, be whatever. We have to get it there. Now, that is the goal. That is the primary goal. Changes are secondary goal. So, to think about them right now, if we were able to move pi to there, or pi could be listed there, then we could think it'd be worth thinking about. It can't. I mean, we can't even trade it to buy stuff. But that's its goal, and that's what we should be building the foundation. We should be setting the foundation. So when we can, all we need to drop things in place. That's our job, and that's pi goal. How we get there? I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. I really don't. Because our economy started, and I know people don't agree with how they started, what they're doing, who started them, da. It's been a major issue since the in-app transfer started. It's the tension, the friction, the not trusting, not believing, not agreeing, none of that. It's all in there. It's all in the dynamics of what's going on today. It's all in the dynamics. And it's caused some bad feelings between people. It's caused some bad blood between people. Mm-hmm. And that it's still there. It may not be as prevalent or being able to see it like it was, but it's there. It's there. There are factions that don't like each other because of it. And, man, I've been saying this right from the very beginning. We need to set that shit aside. For pi to be a success, we need to set that shit aside. All of these fractions that are going on, they should be talking. There should be a representative from each one of these places that gets together, like a summit, and gets together and sits down and discusses what's going on with pi as the money, with what's going on in these communities, with what's going on with these economies. Because there can be hundreds of economies in pi. Each website can be its own economy. Will probably be its own economy. Okay? We need as many of those as we can get, as many dApps as we can build, as many economies as we can get started, okay? Because what we have now will not supply 20 million people. We will not reach our goal. Pi will not reach its goal. If Pi were to launch today, it wouldn't make it. I would almost guarantee it. It wouldn't make it. It couldn't. There's not enough to support what's going on. And I know for Pi to reach its goal, you have to leave what you've learned at the door. If you don't, we will never get to Pi goal. It won't happen. It won't happen. Because what we know today is blocking us from getting to where we should be. I'm not saying forget it. You can't forget it all. You've already learned it. It's there. It will be there. Just put a blinder on it or whatever it is. To come into Pi clean slate. See Pi through clean eyes. See Pi through no filters. See Pi without judging Pi. Without expecting Pi. I mean, a lot of people come into Pi already expecting it to be. I mean, and I did because I was in space and just learning things. Okay? When are we going to land? But when are we going to moon? When is it going to be worth this? When is it going to be the next Bitcoin? When is it going to be Bitcoin price? When is it going to be all that? Yes. It's all there. It's because that's what the space is. That's what we've been taught. It didn't take long to learn that wasn't Pi goal. And we've already been through a trial phase 3 launch. We've already been through a trial phase 3 launch. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. And that's when people that are building the economies and doing their thing, that's when we woke up. That's when we woke up and realized what pi was. Because at that time, the community, I don't know, I put out 100, I remember 100,000, but it was probably between 100 and 200,000. Somebody told me it was around 200,000. Between 100 and 200,000. The people that were in pi at that time, I'm telling you, you guys are good. These guys are good. These guys are good. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They've been trading for a long time. They know the space. They've been involved in the space, and they have their fingers on the space. They were in before 100,000 people. When did you guys get here? A couple of million. I mean, you were. If you were here back then you should have an idea of what I'm talking about. If you came in like beginning of last year, you've missed that much history. There is a lot of history that's happened between when you got here and then that plays into what's going on today. That I know nobody talks about it. It's not being talked about, but that history plays into where we're at today in a big way. Okay, when in-app transfer was getting ready to start, that was at the end of 2019. I'm gonna say October, November, December, somewhere in October, November, December. I use December as when it launched. I could probably be off 30 days either way, but it doesn't matter. December of 19 is when the in-app transfer pilot launched. Before that, like I got here in June of 19. June, July, August, September, October, November. 5 months. There were people, the people I'm talking about were here before that or came there about the same time I did. And at that time, we were focused on the exchange. We were. The whole community was focused on the exchange. We were going to trade pi inside of pi just like an exchange would without going to the exchange. As soon as we could transfer pi to each other. It was a done deal. Man, I'm telling you. You know, this is one of those, if you choose not to believe me, then you're cutting off a big portion of what went on to get us to this point. Because you guys know the exchanges and you're pushing pi towards it, that's where it's got to go. When that's not pi's primary goal, it's a secondary goal. And I'm telling you why it's a secondary goal right now. Because when the in-app transfer pilot was getting ready to start, it was probably 2-3 months. I mean, we knew that the in-app transfer was coming. We knew it. We were excited about it. We were looking forward to it. Okay. The people that are building the economies and doing what is going on unofficially outside of pi right now were those guys. Yeah. They were the guys behind a lot of the stuff that was going on then. And because we were all in that exchange mode. We already had a value, an exchange value for pi set. We said it. The community said it. Yes. These guys took all the variables, and we took all the variables, because the whole community would shut the chat down. We would all get in there and talk, and we were talking about pi and the white paper, what was going on, and what pi needed, and where it was going on, okay? And these guys plugged the numbers in their programs. And I trust their programs a whole lot more than I trust exchange programs. Because they're a lot more accurate to what's going on in this space. I'm telling you, that's how good these guys are. And I'm not saying you're not good, but I don't know if you're that good. I really don't. Okay? And I know you program, and I know you do. I know a lot of people do all that, and I hear it all that. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, these guys put numbers in the computer, in their computers, and they all came up within a few cents of each other. But there was enough information, enough data, that as a community, we could go on and came up with a starting exchange price for pi. I think it was like 25 cents, 20 or 25 cents. Yeah. Had it set. And at that time, there were people, guys, most of them guys, I think there were some gals involved too, guys and gals, that were matching up buyers and sellers. Because we knew that we couldn't buy or sell at that point in time. But once the in-app transfer pilot started, we should have been able to buy and sell. Wrong. Okay. In our minds, we should have been able to buy and sell. And as a community, we had an agreed upon price in the community. The community agreed upon it. We were all okay with it. Yeah, it took a little while to get it to balance where it was. Yeah, I'll go for that. I'll sell it that. I'll buy it that. They were matching up buyers and sellers. And there's probably a couple of lists around somewhere from back then. Now, whether they get pulled out, where people were lined up. Pioneers were acting that like brokers. They'd be going around and going, yeah, you're buying, selling, you're doing whatever. Yeah, I'm looking to buy. Would you? Well, I'm looking to sell, whatever it is. Well, how much do you have in there? What are you looking to sell? Well, he put out a number, he puts out a number on the page, and he goes to somebody that's looking to buy. He was doing the book. He was doing the exchange book. Buy and sell orders. I'm buying, he's selling. We're matched up. I mean, within the ballpark that, hey, he's selling whatever pie, 100 pie. I'm looking to buy 100 pie, or whatever it is. We're matched up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The order is in, man. And the closer we got, well, wait a minute. Now, how are we gonna broker this transaction? Because we can't link any bank account, can't link any PayPal, any credit card, any to Pi. How are we transferring funds? How are we ensuring that whoever's buying and whoever's selling is going to get what they're paying for or buying? Saving people, they were already setting up escrow accounts to broker the transaction. So, buyers and sellers were guaranteed of getting what they're looking to do. I don't hear any of that coming from you guys out here. I don't. I haven't heard one. I mean, you hear guys saying, I'm going to buy and I'm going to sell and I'm going to buy. You hear them sporadic. You hear the people in now about going to the exchange and trading it on the exchange. We did it, man. It was a done deal. All we were waiting for was court to go, we're starting the in-app transfer. So, we had a phase 3 launch. Core, we were able to select people that we thought would be good for the pilot. Core chose who they were going to put in the pilot. Had the pilot selected. And the day that the in-app transfer was supposed to start, Core put out an announcement. There can be no sale of Pi for cash. There can be no sale of Pi for cash. The pilots signed, they all signed the agreement that they would not transfer Pi for cash. We didn't get the availability to the in-app transfer. Only about 300 people got it. Pioneer got the function for in-app transfer. All signed an agreement not to sell Pi for cash. Wasn't finally, I mean, everybody, we got the function to receive. The pilots got the function to receive, send and receive. And they are sending Pi. Okay. It wasn't about 2 days or 3 days into the pilot. Yeah, a couple of people. Well, a couple. Tried to sell Pi for cash. Tried to turn Pi into gift cards. Gift cards are considered the same as cash because you can use them as legal tender to go buy something. Almost shut the program down. Almost shut it down. Because right now, the minute somebody sells Pi for cash, it's a fraud. It's a scam. Because we have nothing to trade for currency. There's nothing. It's on an emulator. There's a faucet. There is no Pi. We own no Pi. We own nothing. Yes, we have a balance accumulated, but it's an emulated balance. It's not. It's on a faucet, but it's not real. It's not ours. And what's in the walls right now is test Pi. Will be wiped out as we transition into phase 3 and we claim our accounts. There is nothing to sell. A couple of people went outside and tried to sell it. Almost killed the project. Almost killed it. And if it happens now, I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know if a sale happens and no one has happened, anybody involved in that sale gets their accounts frozen because they get booted. Yeah. And that's been put out a long time. So if you've been doing any shady stuff behind the scenes and you have deals going on, if it's true, your account will be frozen and you'll be gone. So that choice is yours. Yeah. But what it did was, when Cora announced that we could not sell pie for cash, we all went, yeah, because we were already there. We were already counting the money that we were getting, or the sell pie we were, whatever. That strategy was already figured out. And it didn't happen. That was a rude awakening. It was a rude awakening. Which some people I don't think woke up because they're still there. They're still in that trading model. The ones that have woke up and really saw pie go, oh, okay. And sat down, we sat down and figured out what went on, why it went on, whatever, okay. Whatever, I'll get into the economies later. But whatever's going on has been thought about by all the parties involved. Nothing has gone on without thought to it. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Okay. So, people that are lining up for the exchange and looking at the exchange, that's not pie gold. And I know I'm back. If you believe it or not, do whatever. Okay? Find some people that were here. Find people that were in that transfer and talk to them. Yeah. Yeah. We were here. We were part of it. We were involved. That's part of the history that most people don't see, don't know, don't understand. It woke the pioneers up that are here working to make pie success and reach its goal, because we understand what the goal is. But getting back to what I said, people coming in, this is the only place that has the official information. And Mods don't have official information, I guess, because they'll listen to all the unofficial information on the outside. And okay, so anyway, I'm going to kind of let that one go at this point. Pie's looking to be the money that we're going to use inside our community. Exchange, pie will list. Don't expect it to list right away. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave this one. All right,